That was a really fun experience. Thank you for making me relive it.
Serious amount of trauma is about to get unloaded.
Have you ever felt like the 7 plagues of destruction are falling down upon your business? Well, today's guest has had at least 3 of them. He's had pestilence and disease and fire and floods. I think he's going to have locust next is what we predicted. Today we've got Ed Trevino of Kanuga Tire and Auto, and I think he was in Hendersonville, North Carolina, affected by the floods last year during the hurricane and fires this year, and opened up right during the beginning of COVID. So he's kind of had a little bit of it all. I really think you're going to enjoy this episode.
The following program features a bunch of doofuses talking about the automotive aftermarket. The stuff we or our guests may say do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of our peers, our sponsors, or any other associations we may have. There may be some spicy language in this show, so if you get your feelings hurt easily, you should probably just move along. So without further ado, it's time for Confessions of a Shop Owner with your host, Mike Allen.
I drink almost every day, but I very rarely drink more than 1 or 2 drinks.
Yep.
And I felt like a shit sandwich.
These guys aren't seasoned.
Yeah, no,
I got an iron liver.
It was a rough morning for sure.
I have like a whiskey every night. It's like part of my unwinding process. But we started off with a couple of vodkas and a couple of double whiskeys, and then
It was
some
tequila,
whiskeys back at
wasn't
the
it?
hotel.
It was tequila.
No, there was tequila being consumed, but I was drinking it because Tanika went and bought a gallon of Tito's.
Mm-hmm.
Freaking gallon.
So we're in the lobby of
How
the
about the
Spring
travel
Hill
size?
Suites with a gallon of Tito's.
She's like, it is travel size. Got a handle. Fair point. I stand corrected.
Touche. No, so I'm not used to that. That's probably a contributing factor to the headache that I have right now.
Yeah. I've got one of those. It sort of comes and goes throughout the day.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time in my life when, even if you had a hangover, you got over it by lunch, right? And now if I have a hangover, I get over it by the following day.
Yeah.
So
how many drinks are you going to have tonight?
Enough to get me to where I'm going, I guess. So haven't yet determined the destination. All the way to the scene of the faceplant. So,
is there a process that you can write for that? How many drinks are appropriate?
I mean,
per day at an automotive training event.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Ounces of alcohol per hour of training. I mean, like you can have an ounce of whiskey per hour of class. So it'd be effectively an 8-ounce evening now. Should probably be another hangover tomorrow.
Yeah, that'd be pretty debilitating for a normal sized person.
Yeah, for a normal size, it's like
it's light consumption for me.
That's part of your unwinding process.
I've seen stories about Andre the Giant and his drinking habits. He would drink a 5th of vodka at night just to wind down.
Some big guys can really drink. I can't. I'm not like that.
My.
I don't drink that much.
That's outrageous.
Well, they interviewed his anesthesiologist when he had to have surgery, and they're like, there's no standard for how much.
We couldn't put him out.
Yeah. How much do you give him? Because he can't wake up in the middle of surgery. But he regularly drinks a 5th of vodka. So you just give him enough to kill a horse or an elephant. And so anyway, we should probably start this. I think we've been recording for a couple minutes now.
I think it's been started.
Ooh, all right. Look, here's the deal. I like to think that I'm pretty good at running an auto repair shop. It's what I've done for 20 plus years, but I'm not good at managing a marketing budget and all the different facets of a truly well-rounded marketing plan. There's mail, there's local advertising, there's website, there's Google AdWords, there's all the different things that go into that, and it's just not what I'm good at. So what I've chosen to do is to buy myself the time to focus on what I am good at, while having someone else execute on all of those things at a way higher level than anything I could ever do. That's what turnkey auto marketing does for me. So if you feel like you could use some of that same magic, I'm going to recommend that you go to turnkeyautomarketing.com, get a free consultation, tell them that I sent you, tell them that Confessions of a Shop Owner sent you. You won't be disappointed. Hey there. I'm going to tell you about something that has completely transformed how I run my shop, TechMetric. As a 20-year shop owner, outdated systems used to slow us down. Everything was clunky, from check-in to estimate building to customer updates. It all felt just super inefficient. Switching to TechMetric has changed everything. With TechMetric, you get a powerful shop management system that includes DVI, quick and easy estimate building, inventory management, real-time reporting, amazing customer communication, and it's really easy for your employees to learn how to use the software. I'm talking like a one-day learning curve. On top of that, TechMetric has tons of other tools to make you an even better operator. Stuff like integrated payments with buy now, pay later options is a huge asset. Ask me how I know. And recently, they've added a CRM component with their partnership with Shop Genie, which I'm a happy Shop Genie customer already. So I'm super excited about that. Now, obviously, there are a lot of factors at play here, but I want to give you some facts about my business since I made the change to TechMetric. In September of 2020, when I switched to TechMetric, my ARO was $293. In September of 2024, we were $916. That's over 300% growth. Now, I'm not saying that TechMetric created all of that change, but I'm 100% saying that I couldn't have come this far without TechMetric. It's a key factor in our growth and success. If you're ready to level up your shop, TechMetric has everything you need: productivity, revenue, customer experience. Measure up by every measure with TechMetric. Tap the link in the show notes to learn more. So another recording here at Fuel and Connections 2025. We're still at NASCAR Tech in Morrisville. After this, we'll pack up and when Lola finishes her class, and we've got dinner tonight at the North Carolina Motorsports Hall of Fame, which is going to be pretty cool. I think they've got a couple of Richard Petty's old cars right there where we're eating.
Pretty sick.
I wonder if they have the Firebird with the big tail. What was that one?
Right.
That was so cool. But so far, I think it's been a really good event. Josh's course this morning was really well received, and Lola always slays. So happy about that. Looking forward to the panels tomorrow, which should be fun. It's going to be you and Dutch and
I was actually in charge of the AARP email list between those two. Yeah.
Dutch, Carm, and you're the young guy.
I'm the young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of just out grumpying each other on that panel, I think.
I think it'll be okay.
Yeah. We'll see. Who's facilitating?
Is Josh?
Josh is doing one and Lola's doing the other one.
Okay.
So
I don't know who is.
hope it's Lola. Josh is going to attack.
No,
Dutch.
Josh came to me and he asked me about questions.
Okay.
And I said, Josh, I'm going to be honest. I said, I've been on a couple panels. The best one I was ever on was at ETI and you were on that panel too. And Scott Brown gave us a list of questions and then did not stick to the script. And the list, you could wipe your ass with the questions that he gave us because he didn't ask any of those.
Yeah. I think it's better. I don't want prepared statements. Don't tell me what the questions are beforehand.
Yeah. So I told him, I said, you know what? Quite honestly, I don't really care to know what the questions are in advance. So it doesn't matter. I said, when I'm kind of surprised, I say more outrageous things, and everybody will like that better anyways. Nobody will want to hear it, but that's okay.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that tomorrow. That'll be a lot of fun to watch all of you guys up there. It's an interesting group of people.
We're 20 minutes in, and our guest was just allowed to say the first thing.
Yeah.
He said the whole time. I apologize.
Probably shut up.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man. All right, introduce yourself, your shop, where you're located. Give me a little background.
Yeah, so Eduardo Trevino. I own Kanuga Tire and Auto in Hendersonville, North Carolina. We opened up in 2019. So shortly after we opened up, COVID hit. That was
just in time for COVID.
It was perfect timing, So a little scared stuff going on there, but it turned out to be very good in the long run. So, and recently just went through the hurricane, so had another scare and just had some fires close by. So that was another scare. So,
I'd be like, shut her down. Next is going to be like Locust. And
Locust.
So,
ravens.
It's been.
I came to work and there were ravens everywhere. I think it's a sign. You think?
So what is Kanuga?
So Kanuga is the actual road that we're on.
Okay.
And the reason I chose it was because everyone in town knows the name of that road.
Okay.
So it's very easy.
So they know how to find you.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
100%. Yeah.
Does Kanuga mean something? Is it like a Native American word, or is it It sounds Hawaiian.
You'd have to ask the person that named the road, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's from the area, maybe he knows. I mean,
Well, so I've really only been in Hendersonville for a few years. So I'm not like a local by their standards, right?
where are you from?
I'm originally from Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Well,
How do you
Grand Prairie, Texas. So.
How do you end up going from Grand Prairie to Hendersonville?
So my brother was a wrestler in high school. The wrestling coach there knew a wrestling coach up here at Belmont Abbey by Charlotte. So he came up. I visited a few times, met some ladies, had some drinks. Was like, oh, college is a blast. I'm going to go here with my brother. So I moved up here.
I mean, that is a totally reasonable reason to move.
Right, 100%.
So, especially at that
So
age.
I don't think any of that has anything to do with the actual completion of your college education, right?
You know,
Most depends on what you're studying.
I don't think they had degrees in that.
Life sciences.
What the hell kind of bullshit degree is that?
It's just like 18th century, French literature. They have degrees in that shit. So I mean, maybe I don't know. I'm making it up as I go here.
That sounds.
Yeah.
I mean, the problem is it sounded. It was kind of like a Friday. Oh, today's Friday. We got to make hangout posts. That reminds me.
Are we going to do a live hangout tonight?
Live hangout shit
Like-
post.
No, like, are we going to do Friday Night Shenanigans like live?
We could
on site.
I mean, I had to make up my fake post for the auto shop owners.
Oh,
hangout.
yes.
It's Friday, and I actually have it. I knew I was going to get busy this week, so I kind of outlined it in my notes on Monday what it was going to be.
Can you share with us?
Yeah.
Because you all have already posted it by the time this is published.
So, I was going to say that, as a shop owner, we provide X amount of dollars. I was thinking like $400 a year for work shoe allotment. Mm-hmm. And I noticed my guy showed up on Monday and he had sawdust on his boots, and those shoes that I supply that money for are for work, and that's it.
Yeah, naturally.
So I'm thinking about deducting that $400 from his pay next week.
Yeah, because he can't be using work boots for personal.
No, that's
tasks.
bullshit.
I mean, that's abusing company policy.
Yes.
So yeah, fuck that guy. I
$400.
think that's a really good troll post. So
Yeah,
because it's just ridiculous enough to sound like something someone would actually put there.
Yeah.
You guys are familiar with the Friday Night Bullshit post, I'm sure.
Yes.
I put a lot of time and effort into these things. Those in the cap cuts.
Yeah.
Those in the cap cuts.
Coombs does a good job on the troll post too.
He does a great
So,
job
yeah,
on
I'm
the
very
troll
proud of
post. I'm pretty proud of him. Mike's having a little tearjerker moment over there.
He's
Oh,
my boy.
vital.
My boy.
And sometimes I have to look at them and see who posted them to see if it is a legit question or not.
Well, I mean,
right?
sometimes on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, you see a post and you're like, it must be. It's not Friday. This motherfucker is serious.
He's not lying.
Oh my god!
This is real. Sound the alarms. This is terrible.
All right, so back to Kanuga
Yep,
on Kanuga Road
on Kanuga Road.
in Hendersonville.
Yep.
The plagues that you have fought so far, the first one was the plague, literally.
The literal plague, yeah.
So if you started in 2019, that means you weren't able to take advantage of PPP because you didn't have payroll from 2018 to show, right?
And that's so funny enough, I did qualify. And I don't remember what the stipulation was. I think if you had been open for a certain
Okay.
time, then you could qualify. So I did get some help there.
Oh, good.
So that was good. But such a weird thing, because I had worked at another shop for a larger company, probably 30 minutes away from where my shop is now. So I couldn't bring a lot of customers over. I mean, we had some customers come over.
Sure, but because the distance, 30 minutes was a lot for some people, maybe. Or even people that live on the other side of that shop, it's more than 30. They're already driving 20 or
100%.
something or whatever, right?
Right. And so then I didn't really have a customer base. And then you shut down the country for, 2 weeks, a month, and you're just like, oh, this is fantastic.
Did you have enough time to get the floor dirty to at least have to do a lot of cleaning, or not really?
I mean, not really.
Oh man,
Not really.
If you're like me, you know there's always hidden revenue in missed maintenance sales or overlooked customer concerns. Detect Auto helps auto shops unlock that revenue by analyzing vehicle service histories, pinpointing maintenance recommendations, and equipping advisors to confidently address customer questions. It's easy. It integrates with your existing software, and your team will love it. Check out detectauto.com and see how your shop can stop guessing and start selling better service recommendations today.
So the building it's an older building, needed a lot of work.
Sure.
Like we were fixing up the building still, but I needed cash flow. I was just like, we need to get some cars in here, you know.
Right.
And the funny thing was, during that whole time, most of our customers were like older people that had been advised to stay home, right?
Yeah.
Because
They all came to make appointments in person. It was magical. It's
Were
like,
you
do the
valeting the
opposite.
cars back and forth to their house, or they just came in?
So we would do that, and we had Shop Monkey at the time, but we were able to do the payments over the phone, so that through the app, so that they didn't actually have to come in the building. You know, we were able to work some things through there, and pretty adaptable.
It was a really good time to be alive, actually.
So, in the downtown Raleigh store, at the time we had 2 stores. I just opened store number 2 right when the pandemic hit.
Good timing.
Yeah, December 1 of 19 is when we opened that store.
Ooh.
So I guess it got real serious in January, February, give or take, right?
Yeah, everything was shut down by like the second week of March,
Yeah.
right? Sound about right, maybe? I don't know. Anyways.
But
That's probably right.
people were like, it was a true hysteria there for a little while. And I remember we were doing valet, and we had disinfectant spray and wipes, and we would go to people's house, and they would have laid the key on the front step of the house. We'd get that, and then we'd spray the door handle and the door pillar, and then we'd open it up, and then we'd spray inside the car. And then we'd put steering wheel cover on and seat cover on, and then you wear a glove for the shift. I mean, it was fucking crazy, man. And if we didn't do all that, people would get mad because they were watching through the window.
Yeah.
And you get back and you got to reverse that whole process. And
We were buying the cases of the spray, the green spray, not simple green, but there was a disinfectant type non-odor cleaner.
Yeah.
We were buying cases of that stuff. We didn't know.
But you know, it's funny because like you talk to shops from around the country, and like depending on where you're at, like some cities, you know, if you didn't follow all those steps,
you get review bombed.
Yeah,
You'd
like-
get
Review bombed or shut, or the local government would come shut you down in some cases.
And, you know,
Except for like Montana or North Dakota. One of the Dakotas kind of like didn't do a thing.
yeah, right.
They just
like,
kept going on with life as normal. They still had toilet paper. It was fine.
it depends. Like, if you're in a more rural area, some of those areas didn't really care as much. Right?
Well, then, so my original store is in Johnson County, North Carolina, which is it's only like 15 miles from downtown Raleigh, but it's a different world. And there, if you were hyper vigilant about 6 feet and PPE and all that stuff, you'd get review bombed for being
A loser.
being crazy,
like,
right?
Loser.
So, I have an immune system for a reason, you know. Okay, whatever, David. So
It was a great time to be alive. I had a Bluetooth speaker in the shop, and I found a 12-hour loop of the purge alarm, and I would play it all
that's great.
day long. They're like, no non-essential workers are allowed to go to work, and like the news would come across, people would get the messages from the New York State Emergency Alert, and the purge siren is just going hours at a time. This is I'm a little bit into psychological warfare. So it was a great time to be alive.
we didn't have anything like that with like the emergency alert text message or anything. No, we didn't have.
Yeah, North Carolina. Yeah, New York State. They were like, warning, tomorrow only these industries are no longer, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? It was a long thing. I couldn't repeat it verbatim, but anyways,
I
yeah.
think it is ironic that the people who make the least money in our economy are the ones that were deemed to be essential and got to keep going to work.
Yeah.
It was, I
mean, did we really need to have McDonald's open?
yes.
Oh, we needed the grocery store open, right? But
They couldn't take it all from us at once because before COVID, we had 24-hour Walmarts and 99-cent cheeseburgers. So they had to kind of like phase that out. They couldn't shut McDonald's down and then reopen at $2.99 a cheeseburger.
a lot of the 24-hour stores never went back to 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's my point. Yeah.
100%.
Just don't fuck with my Waffle House and I'll be okay. So I need Waffle House, hurricane, fires, pandemics. Just keep my Waffle House.
Keep my Waffle House open.
Yeah, 100%.
So you survived the pandemic. Tell me about your shop. How big is it?
And so we've really got like 9 bays. We really only use 7 of them.
Okay. What do you do with the other 2?
Storage.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot of other storage spots in there. So
Okay, so like some of your shop equipment goes there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
gotcha.
I got some tires because we do tires as well, which tires are so expensive to stock.
To store, yeah.
But yeah, so just a couple bays for stuff like that.
Isn't there an ATD warehouse in Hendersonville?
It's South Asheville, but yeah, it's right down the road from us. But I hope they don't sponsor you because I fucking hate them.
They do not. I struggle. My experience with them over 20 plus years has been it's entirely dependent upon your rep and upon the distribution center manager.
Yeah.
Because if you got a good rep and a good DC manager, everything's fine. But if either one of those falls off, it's a disaster.
It's that for everything, right?
Yeah.
Your local
100%.
parts store that you buy from
Yeah,
will be great for 5 years, and then their manager moves on, and they get somebody who doesn't care how much money you spend a month. They're not doing, and I'm like, this is how this works, okay? Yeah. Like, you bring me parts because I buy more parts from you than anybody else does. So when I put the order through, you bring the parts.
So how many guys do you got in these 7 bays?
Oh, so we create a lot of bad habits because I only have 2 technicians in the shop.
Oh my God, they have an enormous amount of space.
Yes, so we create a lot of bad habits.
Were you a tech originally?
Was I a tech? No.
Okay.
No, I came up on the counter.
Okay.
Now, whenever I entered the industry, no car experience whatsoever. I'm not the mechanical person.
Okay.
But, I got brought in as a quote unquote manager trainee, which means I did everything. If I needed
was this
to do
Firestone, Meineke? What was it?
it used to be Clark Tire.
Okay.
Now it's Mr. Tire.
Okay.
But, as a manager trainee, I was doing oil changes. I was, but I thought it was a great experience because I didn't
call it the SB position.
Shop bitch.
Shop bitch position.
Very much. So I could work all the hours I wanted to, and they didn't
you
pay
could.
me overtime, right?
Yeah.
So it was great
Work
for them.
all the hours.
It was great for one party in that transaction.
It was great for the people cashing the checks.
So how long did you do that before you broke out to your own gig?
I went through the acquisition. I'm trying to think of how many years I was there. I think I was there for 14 years total. But whenever we got bought out by Mr. Tire, like we went from family owned, like 28 locations, still pretty large operation.
Sure.
But to Mr. Tire Monroe,
Across the country.
huge, and completely different world, right? Like a very numbers only type of company. They don't care about people. They don't care about customers. And that was really difficult to deal with. Like with any acquisition, they don't want to get rid of everybody because they need you there. So it took about a year. And then
they don't want you, but they need you. Yeah. So they don't actually want you.
After like the first year was good. Like my bonus structure was great. I got way overpaid to do my job for a while, and that was cool. And they left me alone because my store was fine. But after that year, then they started implementing all of their stuff, and that's whenever it became a problem. it's really hard to go from. The reason I enjoy my job is because I get to help people. So whenever I'm working for a company that doesn't care, then that becomes a problem.
Yeah.
So that's why I opened up the shop.
Sure.
I was like, I can do this so much better than what they're doing.
So you're happy now in your own shop?
Overall, yes. Are there stresses and frustrations? And, I mean, yeah, 100%. And, even being a store manager for as long as I was, I think I never thought about what shop ownership would be compared to that.
Right.
From a technician to a shop owner is a big jump, right?
Yeah.
But even, a store manager to a shop owner is like a huge jump.
Yep.
So I very much underestimated that aspect. And, some of the numbers I didn't have as good of a grasp of as I should have.
Sure.
Right. So whenever I opened, it was, we're going to do work cheap to get cars in the door. And we got busy, right? Like, you had a lot of cars. You think you're doing good, but your numbers are not showing you the same story.
You got the thing shifted into reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not doing that great.
So how far in after 2019 did you realize, hey, I need to go find some more information? And where did you get it?
So I'm trying to remember when it was. It was probably 21, the beginning of 21. I reached out to Lucas, like I had seen he had been in some groups and stuff, and he was giving some people advice, and I was like, hey, like, just question. How do I hire a good technician? Because I need one, but I don't have the money to hire them. And he was like, oh, we got a bigger problem, right? And so then he got me into a mastermind group through the ASOG. And that's whenever I really started to understand what I didn't know, right?
And so who was your original facilitator in that group?
Mark. So there
Perkins,
was Mark Perkins, Tom was in there, Tom Shearer, and Eric Bach.
And now it's Adam Rath.
Adam Rath was in there.
Yeah. It was a good group of people.
Yeah, it was a great group. I mean, great shop owners. Look up to all of them. They're very good at what they do.
Well, Lucas has got a lot of failings, but hooking people up with that group has been maybe one of the better things he's done. So redeeming quality for most of the...
You have totally redeemed yourself.
Yeah, no, I mean, you think about the amount of shops that have been helped through that program, and it's just a really interesting thing because you hear the same things, right? I can't charge that in my area. I can't do this and I can't do this. You hear the same things from everybody. And it's like, oh, this is really interesting how prevalent that this limiting thought is in our industry.
Fear is the limiting thought.
Yeah.
Self-sabotage.
Yeah.
For sure.
Fear is the limiting
thought. And we're very good at doing that.
Well, I think we also have a subconscious self-worth level, and we keep ourselves from getting above that level. Like I'm not good enough to make $100,000 a year. I'm not good enough to make $500,000 a year, whatever that number might be. And it seems like you bump up against that ceiling, intentionally or not. I think it's subconscious, but there are dudes out there who have just astronomical desires and dreams and goals, and they go get it. And you see, well, he's been in business for 8 years, and he's got 13 stores and a marketing company and a collision shop, and I've been doing it for 20. And
so he can boat his little boat that comes out the ass.
Yeah, his boats have boats.
Boats have boats on board.
Baby boats.
No, I mean, it's
Baby
crazy
boats.
because, like, I even think about, like, if I wanted to go get a new vehicle, like literally thoughts in my head of like, well, if I got too nice of a vehicle, I don't want my team to be like, oh wow, look at what he got.
Screw that, buy the Raptor.
I have a friend in Chicago, and he's sold his shop and retired at this point, but he was in my 20 group for years, and he bought some fancy Audi, At the time, it cost him $100,000 or close to it. And sort of hearing that from his guy, I was like, oh, guess we need to get paid more. Boss is making too much, or customers. I guess you guys are too expensive at looking at that car, right?
Yeah.
And he went and he got rid of it, and he got a top of the line Denali XL with all the features.
That was the same money.
Same price.
Same money. Yeah.
Same
Never
money.
heard a single thing from customers or team members. So I guess it's just perception.
You know, you ever so technicians tend to be not that great with money sometimes.
No.
Most of the times.
Really? Are you sure?
If you ever, I had a guy talking about my truck that I had when I got it. I drive a pretty nice truck, and
Platy.
it's not a Platy. Anyways, not a Platy.
F450 Platinum. You've never seen
It's
a sad
not a
man.
450. Yeah, nobody cries in an money can't buy happiness. Nobody cries in an F450 Platy. Okay, but anyways, and I'm like Paul. I'm like, I've watched you go to the store and get 4 drinks today and like 2 other things from the store. I go, dude. You can quit the Mountain Dew and quit the Monster Energy and quit those candy bars. You can go ahead and get yourself an $800 a month truck payment right now. You're $800 a month into snacks. Like
Sugar is very
I
addictive.
drink water.
Yeah.
Sugar is super addictive,
Well,
man.
what about tool trucks and the stuff they buy on there? Now, right?
How many $28 bags of beef jerky have you gotten off the Snap-on truck?
Not me, none. But I've watched guys that work for us. Put a pair of Oakleys on their credit account. I watched them pay interest on a pair of sunglasses.
Yep.
Yeah.
We do
Interest on a pair of sunglasses. I'd be sick.
We do a $50 a
puke.
week tool truck allowance for anybody who's passed A1 through A8. And there is a rule on that it cannot be. It has to be for
tools.
actual tools. It can't be for
Yeah.
tool storage. It can't be for knickknacks.
Do you pay that directly to the truck or?
Yeah, truck has a card on file.
Yeah. So I do something similar. So like my lead tech, it's $50.
The techs can't write it off anymore, so you might as well.
Yeah. And so lead tech gets $50 a week, and then
Techs can't write off their tools anymore?
No, they took that away a couple of years ago.
That's bullshit, man.
Yeah, that's why. That's as soon as they did that. When they did that, and mind you, while I was a tech, I bought all my old tools. I've rolled into shops with more tools as a technician than that shop had, right? I bought all my own tools, and I was like, techs need to supply their own tools as part of the damn job. Dang it. They took that away. I was like, shops, you need to buy all the damn tools. If they can't write it off anymore, I mean, that's kind of bullshit. They got to pay income tax to freaking buy it. Like, that's messed up. Yeah. So that's when I was like, shops need to buy the tools.
And I think there's some funky rules, like in California, about wage law. That if the technician supplies any of their
Prevailing
own tools,
state matched wage, contractor wage. So yeah, if the technician has to provide the tools, you basically got to pay him $77 an hour.
Oh wow!
Which, $77 an hour, just charge $221 an hour and quit bitching about it. But anyways,
yeah.
I digress.
I can't charge that in my area.
Right.
That's what they all say until you do it.
What's that?
So I can't charge that in my area.
Yeah. Well,
Now, look, that real talk. There is a ceiling to what different markets can stand.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
And
100%.
so there are coaches that say, I've heard it all over the country and that's bullshit and you just do it this way. And I get that because there are a lot of dudes who are like $90 an hour saying that they can't charge $100, but in your market, you can charge $150. I don't know what your rate is.
I could charge more than that.
Yeah.
I could.
But that doesn't mean that you can charge $300.
No.
So there's a ceiling.
The hot take that nobody wants to talk about is sometimes they can't charge that in their area because maybe they don't provide
$300
a
worth of
very
service.
high level of service.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the truth.
Right? Because there are shops that have an effective labor rate. Like once you figure out their labor multiplier and this, that, and the other thing, their shop's getting $280 an hour, sure. And they're providing a level of service that allows them to get that $280 per hour. And they're in markets where there's a shop on every corner, right? Like the Houston market, there's guys that charge a lot in the Houston market. There's also guys working on cars out of storage units for $75 an hour. right?
in that heat. Ugh. So Adams, I recorded with Joe Adams of Adams Automotive. It was one of the first episodes, and I asked him what happened at your shop that was a mistake that you had to pull back from, and he said that they were pushing hard to find the limit of their market, and they found it. And I think
How'd that wall feel?
they broke up well over 300 an hour. They said, like, our most loyal customers were saying no and going away. And they realized that they'd hit the ceiling, right? But then they drew it back down.
Back her down to 270 and let her eat.
Yeah. So you know what? But most people aren't brave enough to even try that, right? But they found out where the limit is.
There's no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a nice coffee station or anything either. I have a nice coffee bar.
What's that?
I don't know what people do that
What's
charge
the conversation with your customer, though, right? Like your loyal customers, and what does that look like as far as trying to get them back in the door?
Hey, you're doing a 4-cylinder tune-up, and it's $1,100.
Yeah. Why are my pads and rotors for the front of my Chevy pickup $1,800?
Yeah.
I see.
But so there is a limit, and there is a way to say my market won't support that. But I think on the whole, we don't charge enough as an industry in almost every market.
And if you're providing the level of service, right, what have I think I've said it 3 times here. Sometimes, when you're the least stinkiest piece of cheese, you can get away with.
People pay extra for stinky cheese, man.
They do. Sharp provolone. Oh my gosh.
But I get your point. Your point is
like when you're the stinky, like you can't compare yourself to the stinkiest piece of cheese. Like the $80 an hour guy, like not even like the work he does. Like the freaking place probably ain't that great. You probably wouldn't send your spouse there by herself to go drop the vehicle off, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then the places that have a higher labor rate tend to have nicer facilities and more vetted people and so on and so forth, right? All the shit that nobody wants to talk about.
When shit goes sideways,
they have the money to buy the engine of yours that they screwed up.
Yeah.
Right? They got the money.
Yeah,
like, hey man, we screwed your engine up. We're gonna have to put a new one in it.
Hey, we ground up the spark plug by turning the motor over.
That guy didn't have the money. That was probably an $80 an hour shop or whatever it was, right?
That was a real question.
That was real.
That was part of the genesis of the troll post on Fridays.
That was
talking about how
that was a
terrible
big time motivation. Yeah.
But like even going back to where I was struggling to hire a tech at to be able to pay a good tech to come in, that was another thing that I learned whenever I joined the mastermind group is how am I going to afford it if we screw something major up, right? Like if I can't afford to pay a great technician to come in work, I'm not going to be able to pay for.
Yeah, you start working on stuff, you're going to be breaking stuff.
Yep.
It happens.
So yeah, no, that made some major changes to the shop after that.
Have you are you still involved in the ASOG Mastermind, or have you moved on to another coaching company?
No, so I will be honest with you. I've sort of stepped away from a lot of it because I felt like there was information overload. So after the mastermind, I did some coaching. I did that for about a year, and then I need to step away.
I mean, there's an enormous amount of guidance and feedback you can get in the groups online.
Oh yeah,
there's a ton of knowledgeable people.
Yeah.
That
you just got to be able to separate the wheat from the chaff on who's a moron and who's not.
Yeah.
And you got to have some thick skin. I did appreciate that in the mastermind group. Like they would berate you if you did something dumb, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
It's accountability.
That's what I'm talking about. Leadership 101. Bust their balls when they screw up.
Yeah, but it's like we all screw up. We all make mistakes.
Sure.
Someone needs to call it out, and you need to fix it. And if you're not going to fix it, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a friend and I were just talking about all the shops that say they never make any mistakes, and he's like, I'm going in this weekend to put some valves in an Ecotech cylinder head because we didn't quite get the cam bolts, the cam gear bolts tight on that motor. And I'm like, yeah, I've been there. I had to rebuild a transmission on a Saturday because I didn't quite get that transmission line pushed in all the way on that transmission line job. And nobody talks about all the shit you broke and how much money it costs. Who knows what the number is? I couldn't imagine what our liability dollars have been over 15 years. I couldn't imagine. couple $100,000 probably, or
Probably
more.
less than some of the other shops in your town.
Maybe, or maybe not.
Well, it's not.
don't
It's
know.
not a liability expense if they don't make it right.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah.
so I want, if you're willing, to hear about last year's ASTA Expo, and it's becoming a bit of a tradition at the expo that there's a hurricane. So 2 out of the last 3 years, we've had a hurricane with major damages that have affected people attending the expo. But tell me about the adventure of that and getting back home into the shop and all that.
Yeah, that was a really fun experience. Thank you for making me relive it.
Serious amount of trauma is about to get unloaded.
No, I mean, it was so like by nature, I don't really worry about a whole lot of things, right?
Sure.
So
'Cause
big
what can you
storms
do?
coming, whatever, right? Like I'm not a prepper. I don't really think through any of these things. So then we get to the expo, and then my phone starts blowing up. So my parents, obviously my kids, my ex-wife who has the kids, like they all live right there in that area. And my phone is going off. And, I'm trying to be in class and I can't do anything about it, right? Like I'm in Raleigh. What am I going to do at this point? I can't just go drive over there. And so we're trying to wait it out. And, but you think about the anxiety, like that was building up inside. There's nothing you can do. You're like not even being able to be next to your kids, right? During an event like that.
Yeah.
That was hard. But, so next morning, right? Like we talked because I took the whole shop to the expo and we had a meeting together. It was just like, hey, like, what do y'all want to do? Like, what is the best
Course
thing
of
for us
action.
to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think everyone was on board with leaving that next morning. So we all went to a grocery store, loaded up our vehicles with water, food, anything we could think of, and headed back. And you don't really know what to expect. I've never I grew up in Dallas, so we had some tornadoes, but it's a very limited
Very
area.
limited path of destruction
Yeah.
as compared
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
miles upon miles upon miles upon miles, right?
And I'm just driving, and like trying to think of where I'm going to stop to get gas. And that turned out to be an adventure of its own and a pain in the ass to do. I mean, it just felt apocalyptic. Like when it's dark, it's dark. When it's,
Yeah, right.
Like there's nothing going on. It's so eerie and so creepy. And you see like all the destruction, all the trees are down. Literally, you're like weaving in and out of debris in the road. There was one spot. This company had propane tanks, like probably about 30 of these things, and they're just literally scattered throughout the road. Like I'm just like going through all of that. Whenever you get to the little roads, you're driving. Oh, there's a tree there. Let me turn around and go another way.
Oh my gosh.
So there was a lot of that. But it was like first thing was first, I had to go make sure my kids were good. And I had contact with the kids. I knew that they were okay, but still like I wanted to be there. My parents, I had lost contact with. So like I drove, saw the kids, tree fell on the house, damaged the roof, totaled 2 cars. They were just Subarus, so not a big deal.
A total loss of $4.38. It's terrible.
But the damage sucked, and the roofs. We're still waiting to get the roof fixed, but comparatively, like it was okay. No one was injured. All that was good. So once I felt good there, I left food. I was like, I need to try to get my way to my parents. And that was a little bit of an adventure, but I get there and they got a generator going, no damage. There was just no cell reception. I just couldn't. Yeah. So I was like, it's like relieved,
Right.
But they're just living their best life.
It's because they think about these things in advance and they're prepared for it.
They got the generator going and they're drinking driveway beers, right? They're just waiting for it to get dark again because there ain't nothing else to do.
Yeah. My dad is the type of guy that will worry and be ready for stuff. So it drives him nuts that I'm not.
He had been training for this moment all his life. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, if the shit hits the fan in central North Carolina, it's just I never let the gas get below a half a tank, so I've always got gas. Right, we're just gonna throw all of our shit in the truck and we're gonna go to mom and dad's house because same thing. They got a generator and they got the wood-fired stove they can cook on.
Oh yeah,
and
gotta have wood stove.
So yeah, just go hang out with them and have cornbread.
Yeah,
cornbread on a wood
they
stove.
They got a generator bolted to the back of their house.
They have that, and then they have a couple of portable ones.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got one. As long as I have natural gas, I have power. And then if I don't have natural gas, I have a backup for my backup.
It's good to have backups.
Well, when it's in the middle of winter, you lose power. Yeah. Losing power when it's 60 degrees out is bad. Losing power when it's 12 degrees out is
dangerous.
It's deadly. Just the act of losing power, not anything that goes along with it.
Yep.
So you survived the pestilence and disease.
Yep.
You survived the hurricane and floods.
Yeah. So with the shop, the shop was the third stop. My shop's pretty long. Like the road frontage is very small, but it's a really long shop. And then we got a big field in the back. And the field in the back is in a pretty large floodplain area. And like I had seen pictures of cars being underneath water in this flood. So I'm just sitting here because, cameras aren't working. Like I can't see. But I get there and like if the water got to the building, like that's all it did. It didn't come in the building.
Right.
And there was no damage at the shop whatsoever. I mean, we had no power, but like cars were fine. No damage to the shop. I was very fortunate.
That's awesome.
Very fortunate.
Did you have a bunch of debris back in the field or anything?
Yeah. Definitely a lot of debris from where water had come up, but, very minor stuff.
Well, you heard all the news stories and you saw all the pictures and videos and the drone shots and everything in the weeks afterwards. But there's a difference between seeing it on TV and, I mean, just 2 months ago, we went up and we did the social event in Nashville, driving up 40. And there's still homes in the creek alongside of 40 where they stopped washing. Just that's somebody's house and it's in the river.
Yeah.
And downtown Nashville still just by the riverfront, it's just ruined.
It's just torn.
Yeah.
So it'll be years before it comes back. And I don't know, you probably wouldn't know. Are you familiar with Chimney Rock?
I know where it is.
Yeah. So like that's not too far away from us. It's actually fairly close to where my parents live.
That's the town that just got washed away.
Oh,
right?
like it's gone.
Yeah,
completely gone. And one of my customers had a gift shop there. So like every time I'd see like drone footage, like I was literally like just scanning to see where his shop was.
You think that community will build back, or did everybody just move out?
No, they are working on building back. So Chimney Rock has a state park as well, and they are planning to put up temporary bridges by Memorial Day to be able to get people into the state park. There's a couple restaurants that are still there that are rebuilding, so they post online.
Is that the one where the creek like sawed a hole in the main road?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was Chimney Rock, right?
Yeah, that's Chimney Rock.
That's the one that was on the news around the world.
Yeah. Like most videos you saw were probably Chimney Rock, Swannanoa, downtown Asheville, parts of it. Yeah, but it was one of the ones that got a lot of coverage. Yeah, it was.
That's why I live where the air hurts my face.
We had, several shops in the area did get flooded. I mean, 6 feet, 7 feet of water in a shop. Imagine what that does.
I feel like it's probably not good for things.
No.
Suboptimal. Yeah.
It's not the water; it's the silt that it brings that wrecks everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think if it was purified spring water, it still would kind of fuck some stuff up.
Might.
Maybe. We'll see. Yeah. Survived that. Back at it. Now this year you got fires.
Yeah.
So-
Luckily, it's funny because we didn't want to see rain after the hurricane. And then you get these fires going on and, the town is full of smoke. And you're just like, oh, just please rain. Like,
You better watch your mouth.
So what's it going to take for you to be like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm moving to a different town. I mean, because that's a question that I would be asking at this point, I think.
nah, we made it through all the hard stuff, right? Like, there can't be much more coming.
A rough June bug
Do not-
season where they're acting like they could be locusts. I'd be freaking out, man.
Do not be speaking that into existence. What else could possibly happen?
No.
There's no way it'll get worse.
There's no way freaking locusts could swarm my building.
The first major earthquake in the east coast of the United States in
Ever
thousands of years.
since dinosaurs roamed the earth.
So, one thing I did learn that I wish I would have known beforehand. So, I've got, I thought, a really good insurance coverage for the business, and we have business interruption. And I called my agent, and I was just like, "Hey, so I have no damage, but I've got no power.
Act of God.
So does that cover through my business interruption?" And he's like, "Nope." He said if there would have been damage to the building, he probably could have gotten.
So
I'd have been
I'll
out there
call
with
you
a
back
ball
in 2
peen hammer.
hours.
I'd have been out there with a ball peen hammer, just kicking the shit out of it.
How are all these lines cut so smoothly off?
Just running the forklift through the door. There you go.
But yeah,
Interrupted.
So I talked to my agent the next day because they were at the expo, and they had clients up and down Western North Carolina. I said,
Yep.
"You guys loading up in the truck and heading up there?" And he was like, "No." Well, why not? It's because we're just going to get run out of everywhere with a gun because nobody has the appropriate coverage for the damage that's happened right now.
Oh, yeah.
And all we're going to do is tell people no. And if we're going to tell them no, there's no point in being in the middle of their misery while we're telling them no. We'll just stay over here so they don't shoot at us. I think was kind of their thought process.
I mean, it's the truth. Is the one shop I was telling, he had a gift shop in Chimney Rock. So I ended up seeing his building, and it didn't get washed away. It was hanging off the side. Like,
Right.
half of it was about to fall
The
in.
foundation and stuff got
Yeah,
eroded
everything
away.
got washed out.
Sure.
I was talking with him to see what his insurance was going to do. And he has flood insurance. He has to carry it because they're right by the river.
Sure.
So he did have that. But only the bottom floor of the building got flooded. Not the whole building.
But the whole building's condemned.
The whole building ended up falling down. Like, it fell, like, later on down into the creek. So last I heard, he was arguing with his insurance because they didn't want to cover any of it. Like, they would give him the percentage for, like, the bottom floor being flooded, but that was it.
That's so infuriating.
Oh yeah, I can't even imagine.
It's like an extended warranty company.
I mean, you have to have
Yes.
insurance for the catastrophic things like this.
And then something catastrophic happens, and they're like, "We're not going to cover your catastrophic thing."
Yep.
But thanks for your money over the last
Yeah.
15 years.
I've given you this
Aha!
much money.
I have the insurance for the catastrophic thing that nobody has insurance for. I have flood insurance. Ooh, flood insurance doesn't actually cover you for being flooded.
So, well, it's a 15-foot building, and the flood waters only came up 11 feet, so we're only going to give you
They're going to
68%.
prorate your coverage.
Yeah,
So yeah, I found myself in a really interesting spot, as far as, now you've got all my customers that have damage to their house, and, they're dealing with all these other priorities other than getting their car worked on, right? So it's been an interesting roller coaster since the hurricane, as far as that goes.
do you work the counter at your store still? Are you the service advisor or manager?
some.
Okay.
I'm not full time on the counter, but I do go up there whenever we need.
So
it.
then you have an advisor.
I do have an advisor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So 2 techs, an advisor, and you.
Yep.
7 bays. Man, they do have it good, don't they?
I've told
Is
them.
it like air conditioned and clinker tile?
No. It's
Seth
not air
style.
conditioned.
Clinker tile.
It's
Does
not
it have
that
a fire
not
pole?
that fancy. But I was talking with another shop owner. It's like we don't really have to worry about putting cars back together and moving them out, right? Like occasionally we'll do that, but we create very bad habits. And I've told them, like, as we add more people, understand there's going to be some frustrations.
My dream in life would be to like have 5 bays and a brake lathe on wheels.
Interviewed Darren Barney at Vision, and he's the CEO of Elite, which is the coaching company I use. But his family has a shop that he grew up in, Barney Brothers Off-Road, I think is the name of it, in Colorado. 6 bays, 7 techs.
That's like Wilco Auto Care.
Yeah, it's like there ain't no leaving anything in the bay.
Yeah,
you
we
figure
have-
out a way to get it outside.
We have more people at our Sanborn shop. We have more people than we have bays.
How do you pay a technician?
Well, you got a GS that's like busting tires or something.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
there's a tech that's evaluating the vehicle, doing the work, and it needs tires or it needs this or it needs that. You have an expediter that can do
Yep.
basic work,
Yep.
right? So that's how that works.
You also pay them poorly, right?
As poorly as possible.
I mean, I don't mean the amount that you pay them. I mean the way that you pay them.
Pay them poorly?
Yeah, horribly inefficient.
Oh, hourly?
Yeah,
You got-
hourly.
Do you have a hybrid component to that, or is it just straight hourly?
Yeah, the hybrid component is we take the hours and we multiply that by the dollars and we give that to them. Yeah, the hours they worked. Yeah, that's as hybrid as it gets, man. It's not very hybrid.
It seems like the opposite of hybrid. It seems like it's
Well, it's taking one thing and converting it to another. I mean,
like
that's
coal
very
fire. It's like a steam engine of pay plans. All right, but back to Disaster Central.
Yep.
I think we got to rename Kanuga. I mean, everybody knows where it is now. I think it's got to be like the 7 Plagues Automotive or something. But
Goodness.
so if you knew
create some
these
good
things were
logos
happening,
with that.
yeah, I know, right? If you knew these things were going to happen again, what would you do in preparation for a natural disaster or in preparation for an extended shutdown?
So we had this brief conversation before we started this of people are going to be like, man, this guy's just doesn't like to be prepared. So even now it's just like, would I consider carrying more cash?
Yes, I love this. I love this.
Maybe.
That's so me. You and I get along just fine.
Yeah, I mean, if the water came up an extra 20 feet, there's no amount of prep that's going to keep the shop.
What if the
on
house
foundation.
falls over? Am I supposed to hold the thing up?
yeah,
Like, what do you want me to do, man? I just got here. I'm one person. I can't do anything about this.
So one of the things that I just don't think this way, but I never carry cash. Like, hardly ever will you see me carrying cash. And it just so happened we had gone out with a group that night before we went back to the house, and I paid on my card, and everyone paid me back in cash. So like I had cash.
Right.
Whenever I got back, I was able
had to
to,
have it,
Yeah,
So
because
that
any store you could get things at could only take
Only
cash
take
because they
cash.
couldn't process payment,
Yep.
right?
Yep. So that's probably one of the lessons that I will, if I see a storm's coming, I might just pull out some cash to have it.
How long was it before credit card transactions were back up and running at like the gas station?
Oh,
3 weeks.
yeah. I mean, out 3-4 weeks, and depending on where you were at too, because
So were there like many barter economies popping up, or was it all just drive until you can find an ATM?
No, man, the pigs and chickens washed away. Aren't you following? They weren't there no
So-
more, man. They were in the creek. Gone.
You bring the pigs and chickens in the house with you during the hurricane.
He didn't do that because he doesn't prep.
I don't prep. Period.
So what you're saying is you should have just stayed at the expo for the whole time. I mean,
Well, if my kids and my parents weren't there, then I would have been like, whatever, right? Because at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, whether I come back tomorrow or I come back in a week, it's not going to change.
Well, I
anything.
mean,
You're
there are
not
a lot-
going to fist fight Mother Nature.
there are a lot of people that went back and were like, well, shit. And then they left town for a month
Yeah. Yeah.
because what's the point of being there with no power and no infrastructure? And
Like the one thing was where the tree fell on the house, I was able to get it cut back and like patch the roof,
Stabilized and
so
stuff like that. Sure.
so that was good. But other than that, I mean, literally, if it wasn't for kids and parents, it wouldn't have bothered me one bit.
so what you're saying is to prepare for possible disaster, don't do shit.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
just roll the punches,
You
bro.
know, just life is going to happen, right? Like, bad shit happens. Yeah. I mean, right?
I think it's actually some pretty valuable advice. You know what I'm going to do this morning? I'm going to get up and deal with whatever shit gets thrown in my way, and I'm going to have a whiskey and go to bed.
Certainly not going to stress out about things before they happen.
Man, that's one of the most wasteful things that so many people do is
People live their lives
gnashing
like
of teeth and wringing of hands over
What
what
if?
might happen.
What if?
Yeah.
What if?
Yeah.
What if the dog hadn't stopped to shit in the woods? He'd have caught the rabbit.
What the fuck did you just say?
I don't know.
You,
Some mountain man shit I heard somewhere. People in the what ifs,
you know
man.
that saying, but you don't know, was it bright-eyed,
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed?
Like, what the hell, man?
I had Zeb explain that to me this morning. And I spent a lot of time in a tree stand. I never really put two and two together. I'd heard the saying. I didn't know what it meant.
What did you think it meant?
Didn't know. Didn't ask. Didn't have any effect on my daily life.
You just smiled and nodded whenever
Yeah,
people
smile
said
away,
it.
boys. Smile away. It's like talking to Dutch. Every time I talk to Dutch, I got to get Google out. Okay, what's that word? All right, okay, what is
Oh
it?
my god!
So, Dutch likes to, grab men's behinds.
He is a little bit of an ass
Does he-
grabber.
Yeah,
Can he do that to you? Does he have a reach around?
I don't
for you,
think he's
bro?
ever done that to me, but I don't have much of an ass either. So
He tried
Kinda
to kiss
just
me
like-
on the mouth today because we were like this for a picture that Jesse was taking, and he was like, it was maybe the most frightening thing I've ever experienced in my life.
because what were you gonna do?
I was going to become Jewish, I guess. So
That's not right.
that's a weird way to convert me, but whatever, bro. $20 is $20.
$20, $20.
I think on that note, we can probably wrap up this highly
On that
productive conversation. Thank you for coming on and talking about the natural disaster that is Kanuga Automotive.
Yep. Yep. Anytime you want to hear horror stories, you come grab me.
All right, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.